Future entertainment back right here. It is NXT Takeover New York. And yes, 2019 NXT Takeover New York was amazing. And I'm alongside Travis from the Hibiki TMD. Welcome, Travis.
Woo! I am burned out from this one.
Oh, so am I, sir. I can't believe how good this show was. And a lot of critics on Twitter and social media was like, I don't think it was going to be this good, but holy shit.
Holy shits.
Yes. It's the ultimate NXT. Like this NXT felt like a WrestleMania for just the NXT brand. And that's what I loved about it. But Travis, first, can you let everyone know where they can check you out on Twitter and all that good stuff for your YouTube channel and stuff?
As always, on Twitter, at the Hibiki TMD. Check me out on YouTube, Hibiki TMD, for the best in retro gaming, pro wrestling goodness. If you're into it and it's nerdy, we probably got you covered. Get over there, check us out. Too many shows to name right here. And this guy right here is a part of one of them, Hibiki Pro. Man, like we said, what a night, what a NXT. And like you said too, this is their equivalent to their WrestleMania every year. Mania weekend, it's what it's become.
Yes, and I feel like Triple H is not Vince McMahon. We know this. The way these two book are like two different entities. You know what I mean?
For sure.
You have Vince McMahon booking 17 matches for WrestleMania, and Triple H is literally booking 5 matches for his WrestleMania for the NXT brand. It's like, yeah, we don't need 17 matches to make this show, super, super good. But I also understand why Vince McMahon does it, because so many stars on the brands, on Raw and SmackDown, that it's kind of hard to not, add all the talent that you can from each brand.
That, and Vince has always been, kind of shoots himself in the foot too, because in a way, like Raw especially, Vince, his shows have to be that long. He has to have that many matches because of the contracts he's in with the television companies.
Yes, you were right about that as well. Now, speaking of like WrestleMania, you're going to WrestleMania with your brother Michael. Are you excited?
The countdown is on. We leave literally 12 hours from now, about 11:30 tomorrow morning. We head out. To say I'm excited is an understatement. It's my first Mania ever, for both of us, my brother and myself. Obviously, it's a bucket list thing to do. Glad I'm checking it off, and the Christmas jitters and all that shit have officially set in. It set in actually tonight watching the show when it hit me that it's WrestleMania weekend. It's like that now every year too. It never feels like Mania time until I watch that takeover that year.
Yeah, and actually for me it's the Hall of Fame, because I just get to sit back, hear some of the stories. I don't care how long the Hall of Fame is. People are going to complain about that, but I really don't care, because it's recognizing the talent that came before the talent that we have for the future. And I know a lot of people are going to say something about the Hall of Fame's rigged, and it's not the biggest thing. It's just, but to me it is. I don't even look at the negativity of the Hall of Fame. But for you to go to WrestleMania, I'm excited for you. I'm really happy for you. I'm still going to say you guys are lucky bastards, because, I really wanted to go.
Well, don't count your chickens and all that shit before they hatch, because it's a long show. I'm saying I'm excited now, but man, I feel like 7 hours in, my ass is going to be numb. It's
Yes.
going to start getting cold, going to start getting hungry. And then not even after an 8-hour show, traffic. Then it's traffic time. Late at night, exhausted. So we'll see. We'll see. But for now, looking back, thank God for modern technology, me able to film it and put all that stuff on my channel for vlogs and all that coming up. So in the comfort of my house next week, not around 80,000 people, will be able to sit back and enjoy my experience the right way, comfortably.
Yep, you were totally right on that. And yeah, I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, because you never know. One of these days, I could be going to a wrestling show with Travis and Michael. You never know. Never know.
We need to start saying, we keep saying chickens before they hatch. It's eggs. We both keep doing it.
I know, we keep doing it. We keep doing it. I don't know why, but we keep doing it.
Hey, speaking of keep doing it, NXT takeovers I've never seen anything like it in the history of pay-per-view. for professional wrestling where a Great American Bash every year, or a Halloween Havoc every year, where they're always good. I've never seen a bad takeover show, and the streak continues 5 years in a row since it debuted in 2014. Unbelievable.
It's unbelievable how good the show is, even after someone like the NXT writers move up to Raw, SmackDown Live. Every time they add somebody to the NXT writing team, it never fails, because I think it's part of the reason is how, like, the vision of what Triple H is doing and some of those writers, and not just that, but the talent that they are signing. They know what they're doing, and at the same time it just feels like this is the opportunity for them to showcase that, it's not all about the indies, it's not all about WrestleMania or Monday Night Raw, SmackDown Live. It's about how you book it.
Flow of any wrestling show.
Yes. Yes. And it was what? A 2 hour and 10-minute show, and it did not fail. For one, it never does. And two, it was, yes, we are burnt out already, but 2 hours is perfect.
This was 3 hours. It started at 7. It threw me off too, because I was like playing Switch or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I got some time. And then all of a sudden I saw a notification. I'm like, oh shit, I only got like 20 minutes and it starts, because I'm, so used to it being 8 o'clock.
But 3 hours is not bad. 3 hours is, it's a Monday Night Raw. Raw got us prepared for this NXT.
And this did not feel like 3 hours. It did not feel like a Monday Night Raw. There wasn't filler, simply put.
No. And I know this isn't part of wrestling, but the new Avengers movie, Endgame, comes out April 26th. Yes, I'm giving a shout out to Marvel, okay? It's supposed to be a 3 hour and 2-minute show. The very first meme that I saw about this movie was Monday Night Raw prepared me for this 3 hour movie when I go to the theaters. Literally.
I'm so sick of superhero movies, man. I'm so sick of
Avengers is just, I can get on that bandwagon. Like, what they've been doing the last 2 movies is just perfect. But, speaking of that, let's get into the very first match of the night, Travis. The NXT Tag Team titles were on the line, with the War Raiders taking on Aleister Black and Ricochet. And holy shit. Can I just say, Hanson is unbelievable. And I know I'm going to go, I wanted to start off in the beginning of this match, but that senton off the top rope to the outside, I've never seen a big man go off like that.
I've been a huge fan of Hanson since he was in Ring of Honor. I first saw War Machine, War Raiders in like 2015 in Ring of Honor. When I first got introduced to him, Rowe was actually out from a motorcycle crash, so they were pushing Hanson as a singles guy in ROH, so I stumbled upon him first. He's really fucking good, and he's, dare I say, better than Killian Dane as far as all around, because Hanson can kind of do everything.
Yes.
The only problem I see with those two guys, Killian Dane and Hanson, I can see him teaming them up maybe in the fight. I feel like that hurts him because they look so much alike. And Vince only sees so far in his age.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know. But I'm a big fan of Hanson too. And I know when Vince McMahon sees him, he might want to just push him to the moon. Maybe if he does, he would probably want him as a single star with just the way he's athletic. But when you add Rowe to the mix, it's just a whole nother layer to the cake.
What did you think of the entrance?
Oh, it's great. I wish that they could come out like that every show, every episode of NXT. When they move up to the main roster, just have that as their entrance altogether. It
was cool, but the drummers were out of time for like 30 seconds, and it was annoying a little bit. I was like, come on, don't fuck it up.
Oh,
but they got it together. But it was cool, nonetheless.
Oh, it was definitely cool. I wish, Aleister Black has the candles and all that for every entrance he does. They could easily do this for this tag team when they move up to the main roster. They could easily do this every NXT. Just hire a couple a couple drummers. Even though it was probably some of the guys that they just hired from to NXT that aren't big names that's under the masks doing it. So
before we talk about any of this match, I saw rumors online, I'm sure you did too, that Ricochet was injured in this. Have you seen anything else on that after the show ended?
No. I haven't seen anything on
Like
Ricochet
tweak
being
his
hurt.
knee, maybe.
He may have tweaked his knee, but I don't think it was serious. Cause I mean, they only just checked on him, and I think he said, "I'm good." You know, it was just a little tweak. I don't think it's something to really worry about. I mean,
There's no way in hell he's going to let himself miss his first WrestleMania.
no, there's no way.
Because he seems like an emotional guy out there. Like big moments, he always seems like he's on the verge of tears and all that.
Which is, I know a lot of people don't like the whole let's tear up in the ring after something like, let's say for example Nia Jax and all that. But sometimes when you're just so damn good, I'm not saying Nia Jax is good at all because she's not. But when you're just that talented and you get emotional, it just, I understand, and I
I'll tell
get
you what,
emotional too.
sometimes I don't know about you, it irritates me if it gives away a finish for me. We'll get to it later. Am I the only one that noticed on Pete Dunne's entrance that he was crying? He was holding back crying. We'll get there. We'll get there.
We'll get there. But I did notice it. I did.
This match was unbelievable, though. And I was shout out to Rowe from one of the most underrated guys in the fucking world. He can do the mixed martial arts. Look at him. He's got the look. He can work pretty much any. Both the War Raiders are exactly what tag team wrestling needs right now, especially for a team in this company, because this company loves a team that looks like the Road Warriors. They can book like a Road Warriors, but this team looks like a Road Warriors, but they're not like the Ascension. They can work with a Ricochet and make that shit work. They can work with guys not like Ricochet and still come off like a high fly. I think it's something. I don't think they're going to be booked weak at all. Obviously, they got a clean win over two of the hottest guys in NXT's history. Man, we predicted it, or a couple of us predicted the other night that that Ricochet would eat the pin. It made total fucking sense, the booking of this. I loved every bit of this match. One of the best tag matches you'll see all year.
Oh, definitely. Like, I called it. I was pretty spot on with the tag team match, too, because I just felt like Ricochet, all that he has done in NXT, which is it's not a lot, but it's enough to say he can take a pin right here. Aleister Black, on the other hand, we've seen him lose a couple matches lately that we feel like maybe he just doesn't need to take the pin because he needs to stay, in a positive set somehow, even if he's on the losing team.
I think they do win the titles tomorrow, though. But we'll see what happens with that. But this match,
I have a feeling.
I gotta say, this was a great. I thought maybe they would open this show with the UK title match, spread out the two top titles, but they didn't, and it was fine. This show was such quality through and through that the crowd was able to be picked up. Credit to every performer on the show being able to follow everybody before them, everyone even the women. When I felt like the women had they were just fucked, like there was no way they could follow that UK title match or whatever they did. They turned and then I started dreading it in the main event. Immediately, almost 5 minutes in, I'm like, man, this crowd's so burnt out. But Jesus Christ, the reactions for the main event, some of the loudest I've heard in the modern era. So
yes, and I was also one of those people that said, I don't think the women. I still say, even after the main event, that the women should probably have started this night off. I just.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
But
I think looking back now, hindsight, this card was booked fine. It all flowed well. Everybody on this card got over tonight somehow. Whether it be in a small way or big way, they got noticed and they got over, and nobody was hurt coming out of this at all. Period.
yeah, but also looking back, the Fatal 4-Way for the women's title, I also see why, they were the match before the main event, because they needed to slow the pace down just a tad bit. But even then, those women just was perfect. They did everything. Even Baszler, she's coming along fairly well. So.
Oh, she's there. She's more than come along a mile. We'll talk about her in a second. I tell you what, everybody slept on this match, and I said it the other night on our prediction show. I said, man, this match is going to be way better than you guys gave it credit. Matt Riddle and Velveteen Dream on any other card would have fucking stole the show on any other card, but not this night, unfortunately. I feel like the main event stole the show tonight. We'll get there. Yeah. This was a tremendous undercard, mid-card match with two guys that are there. Like, I thought this was a bad booking idea. Remember I said that? I was like, it's going to hurt one of them. We saw that at first. This crowd started, kind of shitting on Riddle, getting that heel heat just because Dream's more over. They're both over, but I don't know, man. This match was hard to catch my breath at. The first 2 matches on this alone, and this could have been the whole show, and I would have been like, I'm good,
Yeah, me too. I think the Velveteen Dream and Matt Riddle, they put on a main event match. Even the tag team championship match did as well. I would have been okay with. This was like an NXT episode where it was like, we don't even need a whole lot of matches to just say, holy shit, that was great, and those 2 matches could have been perfect. For me, Matt Riddle losing, people are going to say, may it hurt him? I don't think so. Velveteen Dream has had a lot of losses recently, and I think he needed that big win even after beating, Johnny Gargano for the North American champion. I feel like him getting a win like he did on Matt Riddle was perfect.
And I will say this, it fucking finally, since the days of Kevin Von Erich in the 80s, somebody stepped on a barefoot wrestler's feet. Nobody ever did it to Jimmy Snuka. Nobody ever did it to Kevin Von Erich. Finally, somebody did it. The Head Shrinkers, Yokozuna, nobody ever stepped on their feet. Finally, the Velveteen Dream showed everyone why he's the greatest of all time, because he learned to step on their fucking toes.
Oh, come on now. You got to remember Umaga. Triple H did it a couple times.
Really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
I block out those years. I got to go back. They're fuzzy.
Umaga, yep.
It was what, like 07, 08?
07, 08, yeah. Yep.
Oof.
Oh, man. Can you imagine Umaga if he would have actually stayed, alive? He could be perfect for NXT. I'm being for real.
If you had actually stayed alive. Way to go, Logan.
Well, I messed up there. I'm not trying to say anything negative.
He'd probably be like the leader of some stable, like the Usos, or be like a mentor to Roman.
Yes. Yes, I think him and the Usos would have been dominant.
Dude, he wasn't that old when he died. He'd probably still be an active wrestler, honestly. And he didn't have a very reckless style. He seemed like a safer worker. Like, he took care of his body. Well, he didn't take care of his body. Let's move on before we keep offending people.
Yeah, let's move on to the NXT UK Championship.
Oh, man.
What a match. Matt,
yeah.
I just want to say this to Matt real quick. I am so sorry, bro.
And you know what? You joked about it, and it was all in good fun and all that shit. Yes, but you got to admit, watching this, and I know you're not the biggest Pete Dunne fan.
Oh,
but I feel like
I'm a big Pete Dunne fan.
Okay. Well, I feel like even people in this crowd tonight that were kind of iffy or kind of cheered Walter at first, Pete Dunne kind of turned them around, because it's just, there's something about streaks. People never want to end in a CM Punk streak. I don't care if you brought The Rock back at the time. I hated it because I didn't want CM Punk streak to fucking end. This was... You could have gone either way. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's fine Walter won. This does not hurt Pete Dunne. This, obviously, it elevates Walter and all that shit. You could have stretched it out. You could still do a rematch. The only thing I'm thinking is what's left. You go to Jordan Devlin and all that stuff. This match, instant classic. Just one of those, like the main event tonight, too. Just see it on paper, like, oh, that's instant classic. In a rare case, the guys, have a shitty night, bad day at the office. And this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. In my mind, when I first, Walter debuted, crowd was on the edges. I was on the edge of their seat simply for Matt's sake. Shout out to Union Smack, Cheap One. Matt is the biggest goddamn Pete fucking Dunne fan I've ever met in my life. And he knew this was coming. I think everybody kind of knew. There was that slim... I mean, you had to admit, it was hard not to see Walter walking out the strap.
Oh, yeah. It was... I could see him actually beating Walter. But at the same time, I feel like, the run has come its course. And just like the Undertaker streak, streaks are going to die. 685 days, Pete Dunne held that championship. Not just held that championship, but he was the face that ran the UK brand.
I don't want to say legitimized it, because nobody really watches NXT UK. He made the title, though. he gave the title a personality and a face. Like, there's different levels of making a title, brother. You know what I mean? But I feel like the way he did it was, it just gave it an identity. Kind of like, for me, when I hear IC title, Mr. Perfect, it's like, that's the identity I have. And I feel like that's going to be synonymous with him. You know?
Yeah, you're right about that. And Pete Dunne, you gotta tip your hat to him because he
Oh my
has.
God. He converted Kuzan, for fuck's sake. You know how hard it is to convert our buddy Kuzan to do anything? And he did it. He made him a believer. And he hates people from Manchester, so there you go.
Pete Dunne's just like one of those guys, when you mention his name...
Birmingham, where he's from. Sorry, Logan.
Yeah, yeah. Because, I don't know, Pete Dunne to me is just somebody that when you mention his name, you know, out of the UK brand, you know his name. And I felt like I saw the report earlier that Pete Dunne might actually be going to the main roster after tonight.
Yeah,
moving on to the next chapter. I don't know.
I don't think
I'll
so.
see it I'll believe it when I see it.
I think. No, I know. I saw tons of reports that Rhea Ripley's done in NXT UK. They're talking about moving her to SmackDown for the shakeup. I think they need Pete Dunne right now. I think they need to desperately cling on to Pete Dunne to sell tickets right now for that brand. Because then what do you got? You got what? Tyler Bate? Is that going to sell out a fucking house show for NXT UK? The only thing keeping that afloat besides Walter is Pete Dunne.
Yeah. And I don't think...
And that sucks because there's so much good talent there. Travis Banks, Jordan Devlin is fucking amazing, but just not there yet.
They will get there.
They will. Hopefully.
But I think the Walter and Pete Dunne do need a rematch, and I know a lot of people are going to say, this match was so good that they don't need a rematch for the championship. But I feel like if you look at what Pete Dunne has done for the NXT brand and that championship, he deserves a rematch no matter what. Even if he does lose to Walter for a second time, or if he does become a two-time, the first ever two-time UK championship, holder, that it's not going to hurt him to lose to Walter a second time, because Walter and him put on a hell of a match tonight, and I could have swore that Walter had broken fingers.
I don't know. The only complaint I had was the finish. Maybe it's because I haven't seen anyone win with a Superfly Splash besides Tamina in years, but it worked.
Well, after the clotheslines and all that, I give credit to Walter. Those clotheslines look like it ripped off Pete Dunne's head. Pete Dunne looked like he was completely out.
Welcome to a Walter match.
Yes, Walter is just... Oh, there's so much talent that you could say that could replace Pete Dunne, but right now I just don't see it. And I do agree with you. I don't want to see him leave NXT UK right now. Because like you said, who else is going to, sell tickets? It's Pete Dunne.
What was next? The women, right?
Yes.
I'm not saying what we said off air, but it was Io Shirai, Kairi Sane, defending champ Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair. I said a flat-out prediction show. I saw when this match was announced, this was probably designed to make Baszler look even stronger, and that's exactly what happened. Retains her belt in a match that I thought was going to shit the bed, like we said, but no, credit to the women. They picked them up with so many creative spots. That power spot at the finish was unbelievable, but with the double torture rack.
Yeah.
Shit, Bianca Belair is a specimen.
She is, and I feel like tonight was the night that she showed that she could be, a NXT Women's Champion. I believe that. My prediction the other night was literally, it was, if this is a ladder match that was, hinted at, it's definitely Bianca Belair's night to win the championship. But I said if it's not a ladder match, Shayna Baszler's, she's facing 3 opponents to make her even more strong, and that's what happened. I agreed with you totally.
Logan, real quick, shout out to our buddy Burn Retinas, a.k.a. Colonel Fancy, from Twitter in the chat, says Walter was hitting him with axe bombers, which are fucking badass lariats, basically. Yeah, he was. He was. Decapitation. And thanks for stopping by, man.
And those clotheslines...
We're burnt out as shit from this show, if you can't tell.
We're burnt out, but Those axe bombers were definitely. It did sound like a bomb was going off when he hit those clotheslines. Most definitely.
Pete
But
Dunne is the only. Credit to Pete Dunne too. Still, almost every Pete Dunne match, he's the only wrestler where I have to, unless it's fucking Joey Ryan, where I have to turn my head away from the TV and cringe. Because it just, sometimes I can't take the finger where he steps on the fingers when they're bent. That's what
yes,
I'm like, fuck
yes.
this. I can't watch it. I don't
And
turn it off. I just turn my head and wait for that part to be over.
and if it's Joey Ryan, it's just I don't want to see no dick penis spot, whatever the hell it's called anymore. I just
The only thing I want to see is his retirement speech. But the women's match was very good. It was very good. How do you think Baszler's grown as a champion and a performer in the past year and a half?
I feel like she's better than Ronda Rousey.
I agree. I cannot argue that at all.
I feel like yes, Ronda Rousey has, she has done some really good stuff, but I feel like she is the Brock Lesnar of the women's division, and I feel like
Baszler's been doing it a lot longer though too. She's had a couple years ahead of her on the Indies and Shimmer and stuff like that.
yeah, and for me, Baszler she brings way more to the table when it comes to, in-ring style. I see that's another person that I will say that I do cringe every time she puts their arm back and then stomps on the elbow, because I feel like she's gonna end up breaking their arm somehow when she does that. You know what I mean? Like
I think it's safe. I think that's exactly what we're supposed to think.
yeah, but I just one time I feel like it's gonna happen and I'm gonna jinx it and I'm gonna feel really bad, but I feel like it might end up happening one of these days. But
everybody, when it happens, make sure to blame Logan at Logan Myers.
Yeah, blame me. And I'll say this: I love the spot. Every time she does it, I'm like, yeah, I love this move. It's just something that a lot of people have never done that, where you actually think they break their arm that way. It's
yeah, it was good stuff. Good stuff. What do you think of the team known as the Sky Pirates? I think they should just stay a tag team. Kairi Sane had her chance with the NXT Women's title. I think it'll be a case of Asuka. They just don't know how to book her because of the language gap. I think they're better off as a team, eventually going to the main roster.
Now, if Bayley and Sasha Banks does retain, which I hope to God not, which I feel like they are at WrestleMania, they said they would defend it anywhere, including NXT. That's a perfect match for them to face those two women.
It'll be a good way to showcase and get eyes on them, if anything. They wouldn't go over. I mean, it could be non-title, and they could win it like Full Sail, and maybe like a special match at a pay-per-view. Have the Sky Pirates.
The Sky Pirates.
It's so funny that they're named Sky Pirates. I just think of like Dreamcast RPGs. Sorry.
I actually wouldn't be mad if the Sky Pirates actually won the WWE Women's Tag Team Champions. I wouldn't be mad because I feel like, they, even though, yes, they have the Asuka, the language barriers there, but I feel like they could have a decent run with the Tag Team Champions and also get the eyes on them. And then it might even give more eyes on some of the people to showcase for NXT. And even though NXT, there is some people that don't watch it, like my cousin.
I think the eyes that are on NXT are the eyes that are like, even though it's a very well booked show and all that stuff, it's still for a niche fan and a niche market. I don't think it's for the casual fan.
No, it's more for like the old school fan, in my opinion. Like for me, we're old school fans that. We're also a casual fan too. We'll watch anything when it comes to wrestling. If it's got a good card. Hell,
I think it's for the fan that gets tired of watching guys cut promos where they sound like robots or something, and they want something with an edge. For fuck's sake, imagine that.
Yes, and I love. By the way, I don't know if you've heard the Slipknot is the new NXT theme song. I do like that. I really do like that song for the NXT brand.
But Baszler retains. Where they go here with Baszler? Well, you got Candice LeRae there. They have all these tournaments every year with 32 women. It's NXT. You know what I mean? It's developmental at the end of the day. Mm-hmm. It's revolving door. They're going to test a lot of women and eventually make some new stars. I feel like Belair is on her way to being a star. I think that spot tonight where she would have won the match, I think that's a sign that maybe the next takeover it'll maybe go to Belair.
And I wouldn't be against it. I
Nah.
think I just I don't know what's next for Baszler, but I don't know. A lot of people said, well, Baszler's probably going to go up to the main roster after this weekend, but she retained, so I don't believe she will.
I don't think so.
I don't think it's time. I think, I mean, she could be the next person to actually come up to the main roster like Kevin Owens did. That's a good possibility.
We'll see. I don't like that though. I don't like when guys get called up when they're still a champion for NXT. I don't. It's just me. Like I'm kind of glad that I am glad that War Raiders won tonight. It was about time that they looked stronger than somebody besides just Undisputed Era.
You're right. You're right about that. But I also think the Undisputed. I know we're about to go into the main event, so I'll kind of like slowly push us in there. I think the Undisputed Era need more wins. I'm happy Johnny Gargano won tonight, Travis, but I also like part of me was like, it didn't feel even more, special than if it was Johnny Gargano beating Tommaso Ciampa.
They did kind of look like a bunch of pussies at the end when Gargano just kind of took them all out. After Gargano had like a 40-minute match and was exhausted, he was still able to take out 3 fresh guys.
Yes, I didn't like that part. It really made the Undisputed Era.
Excuse me. I expected some backup at least or something, like some guys to come out and help Gargano. Maybe that's what I would have done different.
I would have, because it would have just like evened the playing field, and it would have made even more. It would have made those talents that came out to save Johnny and help him, against the Undisputed Era. It could even push more feuds. It could help push more talent. Even if it's guys that aren't really names that we know of, it could have really helped somebody in that aspect. But
I will say this on everybody, because that, and at first I thought I was going to be one of them, but now looking back, people are complaining that Adam Cole didn't win this match. I can't complain about not getting consistent storytelling a lot from WWE when Johnny Gargano winning this brings the whole year or so story full circle. It all makes sense now. We got our ending in a way. I can't be mad at this, and I feel like a lot of people in that live crowd kind of saw that. They kind of were converted and cheered. I think that both guys are going to get cheered no matter who won this match because the match was so good, and the crowd, they just were on the edge of their seat nonstop after the first 5 minutes or so.
Now, I will say, I wasn't mad that Adam Cole didn't win. I feel like storyline-wise, something was just not as special. The only reason I felt like it was even more special was when Tommaso Ciampa came out and hugged, Johnny Gargano. Then that
made no fucking sense to me though, because he just attacked Ciampa and turned babyface. So what the fuck? Because I thought Ciampa and LeRae were like going to turn on Johnny, and that was going to be the swerve. Like LeRae's with Ciampa now.
That would have been, but I feel like I don't think people are going to look at Tommaso Ciampa as a heel when he came out because of the neck surgery and all that. They
Yeah.
It felt like maybe the storyline just came completely full circle to make them as a face tag team. So when Tommaso Ciampa does come back, maybe he does go to the main roster with Johnny Gargano, and I would love to see them as a tag team together.
And that's the plans, obviously. Now that's what they were going to do.
And I'm not against that. I think Raw and SmackDown desperately need more tag teams, especially Raw. Who is on Raw besides Aleister Black and Ricochet that's actually
viable
than the Revival? Now,
and look who's getting the shot, for fuck's sake, at Mania. Hawkins and Ryder. Wow.
And I feel like if Hawkins and Ryder win that match, I think people are going to cheer for them just because the streak's over for Hawkins in 231 days, I think it said.
Then look at your tag team champion.
But I'm not. see, I don't know. I'm on the fence about it because I feel like it's going to hurt the Revival to lose to a team that's that, on that big of a losing streak. It's not really Zack Ryder's losing streak either, but
We'll
that
see.
it will hurt the Revival, but it also, at least we,
Why not? They've already been stabbed. If it's a metaphor, they've been stabbed like 8 times already. Why not make it 10? Fuck it.
you see, I'm trying to find some kind of positivity on Ryder and Hawkins winning. I don't know. But I do want to say Johnny Gargano kicking out of all those moves. I know some of the fans are going to criticize that because they feel like, yeah, after like 4 or 5 of them moves before him winning and him kicking out like 5 big moves, I just felt like, I don't know, maybe it was a little too much. Do you agree or no?
I've just learned to accept it. Burn Retina's in the chat says Hawkins and Ryder might lose it the next day back to the Revival on Raw. I can see that too.
Yeah, and then you get like you push Hawkins and Ryder as a tag team that are back together like from years ago when they were edgeheads.
Kind of like they did when Ryder won the IC belt in the ladder match a couple years ago, and he lost it the next day.
Yes.
And they could start calling him Mr. 24 Hours.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
He just got engaged to Chelsea Green.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yes, and she's beautiful. I'm happy for him.
Yeah. Congrats.
Congrats. I don't know. I'm on the fence about Hawkins and Ryder winning. I'm not against them winning but I'm also against it. Like, I am against it and I'm not because it just storyline wise, it just doesn't make any sense for the Revival to lose to a tag team like that right now. But if you want to push some kind of tag team besides the Revival, you gotta find some way.
Well, we found some way, and lo and behold, Johnny Gargano found some way. Brand new NXT champion. Where does Johnny Gargano go from here? I see a rematch. I see Adam Cole eventually winning it over the spring and summer. You got to at this point.
Adam Cole needs the title. I know there's a lot of guys that don't need a championship just because of how good they are, but I just feel like that faction, the Undisputed Era, Adam Cole needs a champion because he's almost like Johnny Gargano where he just can't win the big one.
We will see.
What's next for Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano? The question's there. But if they do have a rematch, where do you go from there? Who is your... I feel like Velveteen Dream would end up, facing Johnny Gargano and saying, I beat you for the North American Champion. I bet you I can beat you for the NXT title. Perfect.
You could also do a rematch with Cole eventually, like the next takeover. Eventually Cole wins it. By then Gargano maybe starts to get called up, and then you go Matt Riddle and Adam Cole.
That would be... holy shit.
Maybe.
I don't know. Unless this is the time for Undisputed Era goes up, but I don't want to see it. I really don't.
We all know how we feel about call-ups.
Oh, I'm happy that it happens, but then, like, you're happy for the first 5 minutes, and then it's just like...
Literally, the first 5 minutes of their first match on the main roster, and it's all downhill from there. It's like their first entrance, you're happy, and then you're like, oh. It's kind of like when Shinsuke debuted. His SmackDown entrance when he interrupted The Miz was fucking phenomenal. Then, like, 5 minutes into his first match with The Miz, you're like, yep, this isn't going to work.
Besides Ricochet and Aleister Black, I think they are booking those two decently on the main roster. I do. They're putting on really good matches.
How do you fuck up what they did? They just made them a thrown-together tag team.
And it works.
I mean, it does, but that speaks to the guys. Doesn't speak to their booking. Their booking of it was fucking lazy. But
it was definitely lazy, but those are two guys... I know we're going to end the show, but I think those two guys, they can work with anything given to them. Especially Ricochet. He can work with anybody. Ricochet reminds me so much of a Christian who can work with anybody. And it doesn't matter what kind of match, what kind of style. I feel like, that... For example, what they did tonight with the War Raiders. They worked with two bigger guys, And it worked completely because those two big guys can work.
Yeah, but they're not your standard big guys either.
No.
Those are hybrids.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But
They're not like two great Khalis out there. They're fucking high flyers their own right, like we were saying.
now, before we do end the show, Travis, I do have one question for you. Is there anything that you would book differently on this show? Anything? You gotta find something, Travis.
I would have had Riddle win. To be honest, even though I wasn't mad at the finish, I wasn't mad at the match. I would have had Riddle win. He needs a little bit more validation than Dream. Dream's going to be over no matter how many matches he loses in NXT at this point or not. Doesn't really. He's a made man as long as he's in NXT. He's kind of like the Rock of NXT. It doesn't matter at this point with him. Fans love him.
And I love the fact that he uses the Hulk Hogan, getting pumped up, big boot. I love that.
I do too, but eventually he's got to find his own identity.
He does.
And that's a whole other podcast, but I'm just saying.
Definitely. You're right. You're right about that. But, ladies and gentlemen, this has been NXT Takeover New York post show. And Travis, I know you're going to Mania. You're going to WrestleMania, sir. How do you feel?
The Rock strapped. I feel like I'm going to Mania. I feel excited.
You're going to the main event, sir. Are you gonna beat Brock Lesnar?
I hope I don't pass out before 8 hours till I get to the main event.
I'm literally gonna text you throughout the show and ask you if you're okay.
I'm gonna look for Bob Backlund because he's usually like every time I go to a WWE show, he's always like by the concession stands and there's like an autograph line. So hopefully Bob Backlund's there signing autographs because he's the nicest guy in the world to talk to because he makes time for you.
Can you bring me an autograph back if you do?
I'll try, and I'm also on the hunt for the Pete Dunne figure for our boy Matt Cheap Plug Union Smack at the Hibiki TMD on YouTube, Retro Gaming Pro Wrestling Goodness, Reset Button Slam Pigs Union Smack, all that Sunset Strip Hibiki Pro. Too hot to handle, too cold to hold, too cold Scorpio should go in the goddamn Hall of Fame. Thank you for having me again, Logan. This pay-per-view is must see. If you haven't seen NXT Takeover New York, check it out, and thank you again to everyone that stopped by. I had a couple viewers for going so late, and Burn Retinas, thanks for stopping by the chat, man.
Thank you, everybody in the chat. And you guys can check me out on Twitter at LoganMyers144. And don't miss the next Hibiki Pro. And don't miss future wrestling debuts this Tuesday night. Right here on Future Entertainment. Travis, thank you for coming on. And have fun at WrestleMania. And, by the way, don't forget the other cheap plug. Don't forget, guys, the next Hibiki Plays is coming out soon, too.
That's true, brother. I'm glad all you guys liked the first episode. Looking back at me and the Macho Man, Randy Savage. Check it out, WrestleMania 5, brother.
Definitely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Terry. Thank you for coming on for the last of the show.
Thank you, brother.
We need to get a beer sometime, sir.
Absolutely, dude.
Alright, guys. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Future Entertainment. Have a great night. See you next time. Actually, see you at WrestleMania, because there will be a post-show. Good night.
Later, brothers.